Welcome to my sacred art studio, to this sacred space where we're going to be creating Archangel Gabriel. And, it's about how do we bring that energy in, not only into this space here, but into your space. Because Archangel Gabriel has made it very clear to me that this is all about helping you, not just me and people who see this video later, but to you watch this video, whether you are here live or watching it in the replay, that you get the blessings from Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse, who some call Pegasus. So I'm Deepa Lou, I'm the creative mystic. And if you're tuning in, I'm assuming you are someone who is a spiritual seeker, a spiritual soul, and maybe, just maybe you don't even know it, but maybe you're also a creative mystic. I call myself the creative mystic. And I call myself that because spirituality, mysticism has been my focus for many, many years. I'm curious if it's been yours. I'd love to see it in the comments, or if you get on live, please share it and share your name and where you're from. But also not just the mysticism of spiritual growth, of having spiritual experiences, which is what I want to bring to you from this live to you who are in your own home, okay, is a spiritual experience of bringing creativity and mysticism together. Now, I'm not going to have you meditate or anything, but creating this spirit guide portal is something, I'm going to put it in the comments just in case anybody introduces themselves, is actually a spiritual experience for me. Now, it can be a spiritual experience for you too in using your creativity, because creativity and mysticism, when you bring them together, I found out can like awaken your spiritual gifts. I had no idea years ago when I wanted to create Yogananda and have it have his vibration, that it was going to awaken my spiritual gifts, where I went from being someone who had no visions, I couldn't even visualize when somebody did the guided meditation, to someone who would get visions of spirit guides and then get downloads to create them so that you can get the blessings. Okay, so if you're new, this is your first time ever watching this. I've been creating Archangel Gabriel. I was given the spiritual download to create Archangel Gabriel with this flying horse because I saw this vision, and that to create it here so that other people can experience kind of the idea of being a creative mystic, on the idea of, are you one? Because I have found when you combine creativity with spiritual practices, spiritual intention, because isn't that what spiritual growth is about, really? It's about your intention of, are you facing the right direction? It's not about being perfect. Oh, hi, Emily. Oh, Emily, you did not miss anything last week. I actually didn't do it. I was on vacation. So welcome. I'm so glad to see you here today. Yeah, I was on vacation last week, so I actually didn't do a live last week. But I'm here this weekend. We'll be here next week. And so I'm glad you're feeling better. This is back at work, but I'm out sick. So the angels this week. Oh, so you need blessings if you're still sick. So yeah, I invite you to really welcome in Archangel Gabriel, because one of the big messages Archangel Gabriel told me. Oh yes, good. That's right. Is about the idea of he's here to help you believe and know that there are miracles. Now, it's not the miracle of like you're raised from the dead, but that, anywhere in your life that you think something's not possible, Archangel Gabriel on the flying horse came to say that he's here to help with diminishing that belief of not being possible into, yes, all things are possible. And that's what we're infusing into this spirit guide portal. And that's what I want anybody who's watching this or seeing this to understand, that our intention is so important. Whenever you want to grow spiritually, the intention that you have of what direction you're wanting to grow spiritually makes a difference. So like for me, one of my aspirations is to grow spiritually, to actually be enlightened in this lifetime, what Yogananda would call God realized. And I just keep putting that intention so that my attention stays there, because an intention is where your attention is supposed to be. And so when you create the spirit guide portals, you start to have the intention of infusing the spirit guide, the portal, the canvas, the paint with the blessings of the spirit guide that has to be created. Because each of the ones that I create has come to me in a vision and meditation with the idea of when they let me see them, they want to be created. Now, I put up Heart Chakra Angel up there in the corner there because he was, not he, they, because they have no gender. They came in a different way. They gave me a vision. And then when I started to do the canvas, it was like I was supposed to do something totally different. And so I did. So what I want you to understand is when you're in this process of like, if you're owning, like I'm a creative mystic, like I love creativity because all a creative mystic is someone who is a spiritual seeker who wants to grow spiritually. Maybe you want to grow because you want to be, more loving and patient, or maybe you want to enhance your spiritual gifts of understanding your intuition. And here's the big one, trusting that intuition, right? Because a lot of us get intuitive guidance, but do we trust it enough to act on it? So that's a growth direction of like, okay, I'm getting these things that I think are intuitive guidance, and let me get the courage and the ability to know that I'm going to act on it. And so, that's the like spiritual growth of the direction. So you get to decide where that intention is. Is it my gifts I want to grow, or is it my ability to stay calm and peaceful? Like, I'll be honest, mine was just I wanted to be more calm and peaceful and be able to, like, no matter what was happening around me, that I didn't react. Now, I am not at that place yet, but I aspirationally still hold it, and I'm better than I used to be. And that's about when you're on the spiritual path, about being able to go, gee, I've improved. Not to keep judging yourself that you're not where you want to be yet, but that I've improved from where I was the day before, or even 5 minutes before. So if you're someone who drives in the car and someone cuts you off and it pisses you off, like I used to just go back at that person, and until I realized that when they cut me off, the reason why I did it was because when I get scared, I can get that way. And then I was able to like change my behavior. Now, does it mean I don't still sometimes get a little with it? Sure, but I'm able to stop it faster. I'm able to like change my energy. And sometimes I don't react at all, because we all have those days where we're being able to stay in that spiritual vibe, come from that higher consciousness, and then days where we're not so good at it. And it's about, loving yourself, being with the way you are that day. There was a book written many years ago. I don't know how old all of you who watch this, called The 4 Agreements. But the big thing I got from that book was about your best is different every day. And that when you truly love yourself and honor yourself, that you allow that best to be different every day. Now, the book doesn't say that. That's what I've come to learn. So let me check here. Christopher, thank you for coming. You can't text. Okay, well, you put something up here, Christopher, so you got in some. So thank you for showing up, Christopher and Emily, yes, and anybody else. So today we're going to start with checking in with Archangel Gabriel, and we're going to start to invite the space in. And again, it's not just about the space here in my studio, but the space in your location, okay? Because we want to invite Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse, you may call it Pegasus, into your space too, so that you can receive the blessings from Archangel Gabriel. Now, Archangel Gabriel is not only here to bless you with the idea of all things are possible, but in anything that you really need some help with, because the angels are here to help us. They're an intermediary when we have some challenge. That's what the spirit guides are here for. Spirit guides could be an angel, it could be an animal, it could be a fairy. I've created all different kinds of spirit guides for different people on their own personal spirit guides. And so I don't ever know what shows up, but what I've learned is that who shows up is what that person needs. And so invite Archangel Gabriel in to help you with what you need today. So if it's, Emily, you've been feeling sick, you need a little more energy of feeling, well, having well-being physically, you can invite in the miracle from Archangel Gabriel of that you're healed, that you're well, so that you're not sick for, a week or something, that it can come quickly. So, all right. So I'm going to, first of all, we're going to ring this bell. And then I'm going to do the ritual. I've got the idea to ring the bell first. And remember, ringing the bell, it's about saying, hello, God. Hello, Spirit Guide. And today what we're going to say hello to is hello, Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse. Inviting in that energy, that vibration, the blessings and guidance and transformation that they're here to bring you. And as we create, we're going to infuse it more into the portal. Okay? So just take a moment now and close your eyes and take a deep belly breath. And when I ring the bell, you can say it out loud, or you can say it in your mind, however you feel comfortable doing it. I like to say it out loud, but say, hello, Archangel Gabriel. Hello, Spirit Guide. Hello, the flying horse. Hello, Archangel Gabriel. Hello, Spirit Guides. Hello, the flying horse. We invite thy presence, thy vibration, thy energy into this space, into this room, and into the space of everybody who sees this video or is here live on the call. That the energy of Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse comes into their space, makes himself known, bringing blessings and guidance and transformation. All right. And then I always like to start when I turn around here, I always like to start with the ghee lamp. I'm going to bring the energy of the light of transformation, the power of healing through the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugundim Pushtivardhanam Urvarekabandhanat Mrityo Mokshamamritat. Om. And the awakening of the spiritual vibration of Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse into this portal, this canvas, this paint. Om Bhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Om. Yeah, let's give you the flame. Just in India, they actually bring the flame into their beingness to kind of help transform your own energy. And then I always like to bring Palo Santos. I just love the scent of the Palo Santo, and it cleans your energy. It brings in the spiritual vibe into anything. So I'm going to clean my energy, bring it to Archangel Gabriel, my paint. And Christopher gave me this idea last time of just also bringing it to you, to all the viewers, to welcome in the cleansing smoke of the Palo Santo, to clean your own energy, to let go of anything that holds you back. And just take a moment. I think if you're gazing at the image, Taking those deep belly breaths in and out. And I know this spirit guide portal is not complete, but Archangel Gabriel is already coming through and wanting you to gaze into what is there so far and just feel whatever you sense. The energies, the vibrations, the blessings of all things are possible. Inviting that energy in to your own beingness, into your consciousness, also into your physical space, your emotional, mental space, and especially into your spiritual space, that all things are possible. And Archangel Gabriel is asking you to ask yourself, what is the one area of something you've desired that you don't think is possible? And from there, to actually acknowledge it to yourself. Now, if you'd like to share it in the comments or the chat, I'd love to see it, but you don't have to. If it's something like, ooh, too scary, like the first time I did this live, I got the download from Archangel Gabriel to paint this completely as I was doing just lives. I don't paint it off the live, I only paint it here. It was a big deal for me. I'm getting more relaxed with it, but it's still a little scary to me to see the process going, because I was raised to be competent and do a good job. And so to put something out there where I'm letting people see what I do, when I one time I slipped and a little mistake happened, that was hard for me. And so what's that one thing that you've kind of thought, God, I wish I could do this thing, and you haven't done it yet because you're afraid. You're afraid of something like not good enough. You don't think you can do it. Maybe you don't even think it's possible. Because sometimes, and that thing that we think is not possible is often not, it actually is, but we don't think it is because of just the way we were raised with the beliefs we were given. And so Archangel Gabriel is coming to kind of help everybody who participates in the creation, and you're helping participate in this creation by being here. I mean, it might not seem like it because I'm the one painting, but what they're letting me know is that as you watch this, whether you're watching it live or in the recording, that your energy of wow, I'm curious about this, or let me put some intention into this portal. Your intention of, yes, I want this blessing of all things are possible. And that, oh, no, wait, not just I want the blessing, but yes, from this, it is possible. That, because everything is energy. Everything is energy, and we're creating different energies through what we put forth. So to just think about that, what's that one thing? Now, there might be more than one. I know sometimes when I do things and they ask me, what's the one thing? I'm like, one, I have 5, and it's okay. If you have 5, take 5. And I suggest write it down, because I know me, if I don't write it down, what happens? Life gets busy, and what happens? It goes on the back burner. I don't know about you. I'm kind of an out of sight, out of mind person. So if I don't kind of keep it in the realm of, especially when I'm creating something new, if I don't keep it in the realm of where I can keep it in front of me somewhere, it falls back to the recesses. And pretty soon you're like, wow, I thought about that idea 10 months ago or 3 years ago, and I haven't moved forward on it. Why not? So I write things down and I put it somewhere where I can see it on the things I really want to go take action on. So I highly recommend that. Okay. So let's get going. I was given guidance to do his vest today. Start there at least. We'll see where they take me from there. But to invite, they're inviting you to put your intention into the Spirit Guide portal. So we're going to start today with undoing his background. I'm curious if anybody who's, that took too hard, been here before, if you've tried any of this at your home. I mean, I'm not talking about painting. I'm talking about taking something that you want to create, because Archangel Gabriel has made it real clear that the creative power, creating is what makes your spiritual gifts expand. Well, actually, it's not just Archangel Gabriel. I was given that download from a spirit guide a long time ago, but I meant he's been telling me that, she's been telling me that it's something that you really have to embrace. And that's why being a creative mystic makes a huge difference. Like owning, like, yes, I'm a mystic and I'm creative. And it's sticking. And being that creative mystic. Okay, Noah, you're here today. Thank you. So glad to see you. Anybody else here that I haven't seen? I think. Just making sure I say hi to everybody. See, like the mouse is being difficult, not working. There we go. Cool. All right, so we're gonna. So one of the things I do when I start creating is not just the oming and the praying, but the prayer that I do that really helps me is about moving my little self aside. And that little self aside for me is my ego. The part of me that can judge. Is it good? Is it bad? Anybody ever been there? Something you're making or creating where you're judging it before it's even complete? And I really learned that you have to let it go through the process. So whatever you want to make, and this isn't just even with art. This is also in life. Like, if you are somebody who's tried growing a business, or you have your own business, or maybe you've tried growing a YouTube channel, and things aren't going as quickly as you'd like, that we judge the process of, I'm not any good, I'm failing, and to not let that happen, to stop that judgment that happens when it's not happening at the rate we want it to. Ever been there where it's not happening as fast as you want it to? So we think we're failing, we think you don't know what you're doing, and you may really know what you're doing, but it's just not at the pace you think. And that's the thing, is I say spirit knows better than us the pace it's supposed to happen. And I have to still work on it. I don't know about you guys, but of trusting that when it's not when I want it to happen, that it's still going to happen. And that's something I'm so much better at it than I used to be, but I still have to remind myself, like when it doesn't show up when I want it to, like that doesn't mean it's not going to, doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means it's at a different timetable than what I'm desiring, and to trust that. And that happens with art, happens with life. Whenever something you want to create, is you have to trust that process of it happening at maybe a different timetable than what you want. And I have seen through my own life with past experience that when things finally show up, even when it's later than I want, I always see why it came later. like why it's good that it didn't come, because often it doesn't come because you're not ready for it. You're not ready for it. You wouldn't even actually probably respond well if it did come, because, we think we know what we want all the time. And then sometimes it's like, wow, I didn't even know that I'm up for that. Now, I purposely painted this outline because I'm mixing the color. I put the burnt umber on the outer part, and I'm mixing with yellow right on the canvas. And that's one of the things I love about oil paints, is I often mix the color on the canvas. And this is just a base layer anyway, so there's going to be other stuff going over it. But I love the fact that you can do that with oil paints, like mix stuff on the canvas. And sometimes you don't even know exactly what it's going to come out looking like. And then you go, wow, that looks good. And sometimes you do it and you go, oh, I don't like that. But that's the part where you have to have, move that little self aside, so the ego doesn't have you quitting or judging it and putting, this is about, remember, the intention of the energy you want it to be, that you want in it. So it's all about the energy. What are you putting into the painting? So whatever you're making, whether, Christopher, I know you can't respond very much today, but you play guitar. So if you make a song, what's that intention in the song? And Emily, if you ever went back to painting, what would be the intention of your painting? What would you want it to be? Like, how do you want it to bless others? And also, like, I had to learn how to really value art. I don't know if any of you have been there, but I grew up in a family where art was secondary. Like, you got to do that when you got all the other hard work done. Anybody grow up with that? Like, art was like an extra thing, and you certainly didn't do it unless you got all the other things done. Like growing up as a kid, homework first. Homework was, the math and everything else. And you did not worry about doing art. That was like last. Even though what's really funny is my mom used to draw self-portraits, and us kids when we were little, it still wasn't valued, to the degree that I would have liked it to be, where I wouldn't feel conflicted. So curious if anybody ever feels conflicted about doing creative work, creativity, and doing like what you think is practical, logical, responsible. That was my big conflict. When I saw this vision of Archangel Gabriel, she did not have a face. He looked more masculine, and his skin tone was not the color, really, that I could say I know what it is. So this is where the experimentation process comes in. I'm getting to just put white here for now. So that's what I'm going to do. Just put white. Let's see. Emily, thank you for sharing. Yes, you had similar experience to me. Yes, uninspired. I get it. Oh, crop circles. That's cool. Those are amazing to me, like the crop circles and stuff, how they happen. Um, I'm assuming you're talking about the ones that you see, like in, that we can't figure out how they actually made it. You know? Archangel Gabriel has been really coming to me, showing up in visions, and sometimes I haven't even understood why he's showing up. It's been this, and that's the thing when you get guidance, sometimes you don't understand it right away. I've had even, sometimes I work with clients and mentoring, coaching, and something comes through, and I'll say, I'm going to just tell you what I'm seeing or the words I'm hearing. I don't really understand what it means, but I'm going to tell you. And I tell the person, and they go, "Oh no, that makes sense." And I'm always surprised because I didn't understand what it was until they said it makes sense. So you got to, when you get that guidance, trust that even though if it doesn't make sense now, it'll probably make sense later. When I was in my 20s, I wanted to buy a house. I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm mentioning it again because I'm getting guided to say it again. And the one thing about the spirit guides is they repeat things sometimes because someone else needs to hear it again. And the thing about when you're on the spiritual path, the spiritual journey, is when you're on the journey on that spiritual path, sometimes life gets hard because we're not getting the message. Like we keep not listening to it. And it's not, people think that's like a test and that, you have to pass the test. And I don't like to call it a test because it kind of seems like you're being punished. I like to let people know that it's just giving you feedback that there's something that, like, if life is getting hard, that you need to let go of. That you need to let go of, or you need to receive, and that you haven't been willing to do that. So Archangel Gabriel is saying if there's some area that you feel you've been struggling with, think about that. Is there a belief that you need to let go of? Or is there like something that you need to let go of that you felt for a while that you need to let go of and you haven't? That could be something, and it also could be a person that's no longer serving you. And I'm certainly not telling you to dump your friends, but it was something. When I was in my 20s, I had to make some choices and let go of people. I don't know if any of you were partiers when you were younger or if you're a partier now, but I was a partier when I was in my 20s, like major partier, and wanted to get successful being a salesperson. Had the opportunity to become an outside straight commission salesperson, and I knew if I kept partying the way I was, that I was not going to be able to be successful. Because we would start partying on Thursday night and party all the way through the weekend, and Monday I'd always go to work because I was super responsible. But I was, not feeling the greatest when I would go to work. And so I felt like I'm not going to be able to be successful doing this way. So I'm wondering if any of you have had anything like that. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Christopher. Ah, yes, messages. Yeah, thank you guys for sharing. I like seeing the shares and oh, I love it. See, now this is the thing. I when I paint, sometimes I do something and I think, oh, whoops, a mistake. But often it adds. And often I don't even know if it's going to, but I just trust it will. So I just cleaned that, got a little bit of the yellow. But remember I said that when I saw the vision, it didn't look um, like a skin tone that I've ever seen. So I was like, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this because I'm not sure, what it is. But so I'm just kind of going with what I'm being guided to stick on his arms. And a little bit of the yellow got on there. But I'm thinking that maybe that's what some of it was looking like. So you kind of have to like trust the process. It's funny, I was doing this part and I was thinking about when I went to Italy years ago. Anybody been to Italy? If you've been to the Colosseum, Colosseum, Colosseum. I know I can't say the word all of a sudden. Colosseum. There we go. I don't know why I can. When's been now? Anyway, the Colosseum. I always felt like I was a reincarnated, like gladiator or Roman soldier, because I went there and it was weird because it almost felt familiar uh, to me. And anybody have something like that happen where you go somewhere and you go, oh, there's a familiarity to you, but like I knew I'd never been there before. So I'm like, well, I haven't been here before, so how could it feel familiar? And I understand how that's possible. But it did. And it was the strangest thing. So one of the reasons why I'm telling you this is Archangel Gabriel is kind of coming through and saying how, like, that anything that feels familiar that you haven't been to before, it's like a past life memory, and that it's not significant in that your life is gonna change, but sometimes it explains things for you, of like a habit or like why you're drawn to something, and doesn't necessarily change what you're going to do, but it just, I don't know, sometimes when you have some insight about things, you can gives yourself some compassion about stuff. So even though Like, I'm not like of what people would call tall stature in my height, but people always thought I was mighty. Like, they didn't um, like ever try to step on my toes or anything, because I had some kind of warrior energy in me. So, oh, welcome, Reverend Francis Faden, and I know you've been to Italy. Cool. Oh, Emily, you're part Italian? Oh, but you haven't been there. You're always supposed to be in the Mediterranean type weather. It's a cool place to go if you can ever go there. I mean, it was a long time ago when I went there, but it's so different than America. I mean, I don't know. I think you said you were from America, if I remember correctly, Emily. Um, uh, um, than what we're used to here. It's you go there and you drive down the roads and you see some ancient, ruin right there on the side of the road. It's like the same thing. Driving the car, like, wow, look at that. We don't have anything old like that here in the United States. So it was pretty amazing to see those ruins when you're traveling down on just a regular road, paved road, like what we have here that we drive our cars on, and then you see it. So that's the amazing thing about it. To see. So I don't know if we're going to get this first layer in today, all of it, but I talked a little bit longer than I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to get painting faster, but it's all in divine order. Archangel Gabriel has given me some guidance to say those things, and I wanted to share it with you. All right, Kisser, thank you for coming. Yeah, okay, Emily, I thought so. I remember I was pretty sure you had said you were an American. So the little details of getting some legs in. I'm not going to finish off the legs and feet, but I'm going to get them in here. Work on finishing them so it looks like some kind of feet later, or at least shoes. So much pain on there. So I'm curious if anybody has had aspirations to get like oh, okay. So I'm curious if anybody has aspirations to like develop their spiritual gifts, like whatever that gift is that you'd like to have, be more developed for you. And you can shout it out. I'd love to hear what it is, because I've been looking at maybe different classes to offer and things like that. And common thing I get asked is about spiritual gifts. The big one is about intuition. Curious, anybody? Let's see, have a desire of a gift that they'd like to see grown, developed, that they would like to grow it? So Emily, you mentioned you'd like to be able to paint spirit or do those crop circles or something. Anything? One thing about when you paint spirit guides, you gotta go with what they're guiding you to do. I've been doing this class called Connect to Your Purpose Spirit Guide, and it's been really fun. I like helping people connect to their spirit guides because, I have found since they've started presenting themselves to me, not only do they give me blessings, but they just like whenever I feel confused or unclear. Ever have that where you feel kind of unclear about what your next step is? I go ask my spirit guides, and they clarify that for me. Ah, yeah, and with intuition. Yes, I agree with you. It's need for human evolution. That's what the spirit guides are here to help you with, is to really develop the ability to get the intuitive guidance that is available to all of us, but we don't know it, and people don't know it. They think they have to use their brain. I'm always telling people that human beings misuse their intellect. They, think that our intellect there is like we're supposed to use it to analyze and decide every little decision by our intellect. And what it's really meant to be used for, I tell people, is to apply the spiritual truths. And then we're actually supposed to follow our intuition, which is guidance from higher power. And that's the spirit guides. They're coming and they're wanting to give guidance to you so you can get that higher guidance, that higher consciousness, so that you actually can stop being caught in your programming, your subconscious mind that keeps you stuck, and what you can do to get beyond it. Because we get human beings, we get stuck in, people get stuck in ruts and they get stuck in doing things the same old way. I'd done a class a long time ago, haven't done it in a while, about, like one of the first things, like if you want to awaken to your spiritual gifts, is start to realize that if you're only doing the same thing every single day, the same stuff, like nothing new and different, that you can't possibly grow spiritually, because that same thinking, those same behaviors have gotten you where you are. And so in order to have spiritual growth, transformation, you got to do something different. You have to do new and different things. So, and that's one of the things about when you create these spirit guide portals, I tell people is, I have my little rituals I've developed that I've gotten downloads on what to do. I shouldn't say I developed it. All this that I do has been a download from spirit telling me, do this, do that. Especially that when I was given the download to do people's personal spirit guide portals. And when I got that download, I was like, you got to be kidding. I didn't say you got to be kidding, but on the inside, I felt that way. I was like, you want me to put on my website that I can see a person's personal spirit guide and create it into a portal for them? And at that time, I was just kind of creating them myself, not for other people. I was creating them, and I put it on my website, but I was scared because I was like, I don't know if I can do this, so it's but I was willing to do something new and different, even though I didn't know I could do it. And that's the thing, is what new and different thing can you do, even though you don't know you can do it? Like, just so that you're not doing the same old thing. And so sometimes I tell people, it's maybe even drive home a different way. Maybe you don't commute. I don't commute. My commute's downstairs to my art studio, my office. That's my commute, which I love the fact I don't have to commute in traffic. I get to just come down and be in this space. Hoping to get all this in. I think I might be able to. I've been enjoying doing this spirit guide portal. The big challenge has been waiting for the next Thursday that I get to create it, because there's been times I wish I could paint this one today, because I work on multiple spirit guides at once. But I was like, no, I got the guidance to just do it when I'm in the live on YouTube. So I'm going to hold off and only do it then. But I was feeling it like, but I'm going to stick to doing it on here. And actually, I like doing it with you guys. It's been fun. It's been fun creating this. Once I got used to being okay with people seeing that there could be a mistake. I'm curious, Emily, or anybody else, what's your biggest challenge with getting intuitive downloads or trusting them? Love to know what that is. If you're still here, I think you are. But yeah, I would love to know if you know what your biggest challenge is with either knowing if it's intuition or trusting it. Um, oh, thank you, Kainoa. Sorry. Still haven't, even though you so nicely gave me the pronunciation, I don't still think I'm saying it right, but I'm doing my best. But thank you so much. It's fun for me to get to do this. You know, Archangel Gabriel's giving me like guidance about this is important, you know, because about creativity and art, creating more creative mystics in the world. You know, not that I'm creating them, but that creating them and that bringing it to their awareness or your awareness. Like maybe you want to be one. You know, someone who's a mystic who wants to be creative. Certainly, you don't have to do it the way I'm doing it, but you know, is that something that you want for yourself? Or you feel like you got nothing really happens. I got a pair of dowsing rods recently to try. So when you say nothing really happens, Emily, do you mean like you ask questions but you don't feel like you ever get an answer, or like you don't notice anything that ever feels like a intuitive download? I'm curious. Like, do you actually ask questions of either a spirit guide or spirit? You can tell me whoever you communicate with. I'm curious to see that. And kind of listen, it's really identifying them or being comfortable in the higher frequencies and feelings. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's funny because the spiritual path, it's people think, oh, when I attain enlightenment or something, I'll like, oh, I'll just love it. And it's like what you're kind of saying, people can get scared because it's different. It's I know when I first started meditating and things started happening, well, in fact, like the first time I ever saw a spirit guide, I mean, I saw it and I immediately was like, yanked myself out of it and went, what was that? What was that? Trying to figure out what it was, because I was someone who's so non-visual that my mind engaged the moment I started to see it for the first time. And it, of course, went away, and then when it kept coming back, that's when I started to go, okay, stop trying to figure out what it is and just be with that energy, be with the energy of it, and don't try to figure it out right now. And then as I did that, it came more and more. And then I started to kind of ask little questions, like, who are you? Why are you coming to me? And when I started to ask that, that's when it started to come of, oh, they're coming to me because they want me to create them. They want me to create them into spirit guide portals. So then, I started to welcome in that energy. I mean, obviously, I think the spirit guides were dropping. The thing about the spirit guides I want you guys to get, because you're talking about intuition, is that intuition usually speaks to you in the way that you're naturally wired. So, like, I'm an empath. So it started speaking to me through my feeling nature, because I my feeling nature, my desires, my emotions, all my kind of inner stuff. And so I started to get the desire to create Yogananda. Remember I said where you could feel his power and his energy. Well, that was spirit speaking to me, trying to awaken in me my ability to connect with the spirit guides. But I didn't know that back then. I just was like, what is this? So you want to like welcome in things and not have to really understand it. Like just be with it for a while, because you won't always understand it right away. And you got to be okay with that. That's what helps you to, when you just with it, because when the vision started coming, I just was like, after I finally got my stuff to stop going, what is that? What is that? Then it started to come and it started to make sense. Like, oh, they're coming because they have blessings and guidance they want to give to people. And they want me to create more of these spirit guide portals like I did with Yogananda. In physical form, so that people will have a way. Now, you don't have to have a visual in the sense of, if you're someone who can remember, there are different ways to connect. But what they were told me is that, like, if the reason why they wanted me to create spirit guide portals is because we all need a help. We need a doorway, something that helps us get into that vibration. And not just get into it, but remember, one, that the vibration is there, because our biggest challenge on the spiritual path, and you've heard me say it before, but I'm going to repeat it again because that's part of the spiritual path, is remembering, like remembering that there is spirit here with us, the spirit guides are with us, and that we're not alone, and that I can ask for help. So how can you actually start to embrace that? So anyway, we're going to stop there because I have to get to a 5 o'clock appointment. But let's just check out this here. Yeah, Emily, you feel like you don't get an answer. That happens for a lot. And it's probably because you, you're programming. It's the biggest reason, not probably. The programming stops you. And that's one thing I've worked with people in my classes, is helping them to understand the language that the spirit guides or spirit speaking to them, and how to recognize it, because that's the challenge, is how do you recognize it? And then there's the next level of how do you recognize it, and then how do you trust it enough to actually act on it? Because if you don't trust it, the intuition, that intuitive guidance doesn't help you any, right? If you don't act on it. So it's like, how do we help you get to that next level of trusting it so that you'll act on it? Because when you start to act on it, your life starts to look completely different. Like if you'd asked me 20 years ago, I'm going to be painting spirit guide portals, or 25 years ago, like 20, I guess, when did I start doing this? 2000. Oh, I guess it was 12 or 13, something like that. So, if you'd asked me 20, 25 years ago, you're going to be creating spirit guide portals, I'd be like, like not, like I can't even get visions. Like why would I, I was intuitive, and I got like messages in the sense of like, I could find a parking spot because I could feel the energy of where that space was, and we could be at a crowded festival, and I'd be like, turn left here, turn right here. Oh, there's the spot, because I could feel it. But because that's how my intuition came to me in the beginning, was through, because of being an empath, it came through my feeling nature. But I would not have thought I was visual. And when I started to step into, one, mysticism being the most important thing in my life, of having my own spiritual experiences and creating them for others, it's one of the reasons why, that Archangel Gabriel wanted me to do this, was even though it might not feel like the typical spiritual experience where you go meditate, or you're doing maybe Sanskrit chanting, I do all those things, or going to church and praying, or having somebody do a sermon, whatever your path is, because I honor all of them. Spiritual experiences are really about the energy and the consciousness. What are you willing to put forth, and what are you like receiving? And so here you get to do both. You kind of get to put some energy into Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse, and you get to receive their blessings too. Okay. So we would definitely be on next week at 3:30 and Thursday. I think, I don't remember what the date is. Today's what? Today is the 4th. So Thursday next week is what? That would be what, the 11th, I think it is. I'm not looking at the calendar, but I will be putting it up, and then either probably tomorrow, the scheduled live. But it'll definitely be next Thursday, 3:30. And just let it open here. If anybody has any questions before I sign off, please feel free to put them up. I'd be happy to answer them. And I'll give it like a minute or two for you guys to type if you have anything, because I do see some people alive. If someone new got on, feel free to introduce yourself. Give a shout out where you're from. I love doing the shout outs where you're from, and there's a reason why I do it, is because sometimes it has happened to me, not here on YouTube, but it has happened to me on some other platforms where people do a shout out, and so there'll be two people in the same city, and then they can connect, because I like to help people connect and find like-minded souls. So... Oh, you're welcome, Emily. Thank you for showing up. You make it more fun when I see you guys coming, the regulars, and even new people. It's all fun just to connect and spread the blessings of Archangel Gabriel. So I don't see any other questions or anything. So we will sign off then until next week. Blessings.